Hi everyone, welcome to the Back 40 Feet where we talk about suburban, urban, and patio gardening. And today I'm going to talk a little bit more about season extenders, specifically a cold frame. Now I've done other videos about season extenders, and those really were intended to harden off the seedlings that I had been growing inside. A cold frame is a little bit different, although you certainly can use it to harden off your seedlings. But the thing that I like about the cold frame is it allows you to really extend your harvest in the fall and start a harvest earlier in the spring. So I really use these for crops that I put into the ground. Typically I assemble my cold frame in the fall, but in 2020 we had a really exceptionally dry fall, and I couldn't really get many of my seedlings to grow. So now it's spring. It is the second week in March. Believe it or not, it's 68 degrees outside and it's beautiful, but the ground is still very hard and frozen. And in 3 days, we're going to get a snowstorm. That's okay. I can still start spring seeds in my cold frame. Anything I put in my cold frame is really going to need to be cold hardy. But what the cold frame will do is it will keep any moisture off of the new plants, and it's the moisture that causes that freezer burn and really stresses out plants. It keeps them out of the wind. We don't like wind chill, neither do plants. And it will provide them lots of warmth for the sun and will help to warm up the soil. So let's look at the different components of the cold frame. And the one that I'm assembling is just as an example, and I'll explain different ways that you can make your own cold frame using your own materials. Here's the basic structure for my cold frame, but let's just kind of talk about the different basics. It's a bottomless box. You can see here the grass. I haven't put this into the garden yet. And my cold frame happens to be a double, but let's just talk about one side here. So here are the sides. Mine happens to be a poly that has an air chamber in the middle. You can kind of see those channels that helps to hold in some of the heat. But you can really use anything for your frame. It could be a wood frame that you build. You could use cinder blocks, hay bales, logs. It doesn't have to be fancy. But the big thing is the dimensions, is that the front of the cold frame, you want to have about anywhere from 8 to 12 inches. And then the back of the cold frame to be about 4 inches higher than the front. That'll give you about a 20-degree angle, which is nice to capture the sun during the winter time, and not such a high angle that you're wasting a lot of space in the cold frame with heat. So a smaller space can retain the heat a little bit better. So first you figure out what you want the walls to be in construction. The next component of the cold frame is what's called the light, which is really either a pane of glass or plastic, basically something transparent that will trap the light and the heat. And you want it to be able to open. So this is still made out of the same polycarbonate that the bottom is, and you can see that it's on a hinge and I can quickly open and close it. Let's talk about the light a little bit more on the cold frame. The intent of it is to capture those sun's rays. So when you position your cold frame into your garden, the length of the cold frame, the longest length, should be running east-west, and you want the light facing in a southerly direction to capture as much of the sun's rays as possible. I happen to have a double cold frame. I'm still going to have the main light facing the south side. When you're choosing your materials for your light, again, you could use glass, old windows, plastic. You want to make sure, first and foremost, that you're able to lift it. You want to be able to access your vegetables without hurting yourself. And you want to make sure that it's not light enough that it's going to also just blow off in the next wind. Something you can do if you did use a lightweight material is that you can use different latching mechanisms to keep it from catching the wind, like I have. I also truthfully put bricks on it so that if it's a windy day, I don't have to worry about it blowing. You have to keep a weather eye when you have a cold frame, because if you're going to have a hot sunny day or a bright sunny day, even if it's not hot, it can really heat up quickly in that cold frame. In general, during the nighttime, the cold frame is going to be about 5 to 20 degrees warmer than the outside temperature. But if you have a hot sunny day, I mean, it's just like when you go into your car on a hot sunny day in the dead of winter, it's still quite warm in there. So you might need to prop open the cold frame during the heat of the day, let some of the temperature out so that you don't fry your seedlings and turn it into an oven. There are solutions so that you can be a little bit more on the lazy side. What I'm showing you here is an automatic vent opener. So it's on a hinge, and it has this gas cylinder that expands and contracts with the temperature, and it's got this lift. So when I put it in my cold frame, it's going to raise the cold frame when it's hot inside and then close when it cools off. So this helps me not have to be so worried about leaving for the day and then suddenly have weather that I didn't predict. Because this hinge is pretty strong, I don't put bricks on that light. This will go on the light that faces the north side, so that for the most part, unless it's a really hot day, the light that is always closed in my cold frame is that southerly light. What do you do when it snows on your cold frame? I leave it alone. Snow is a great insulator, and it will insulate anything that's growing in there if you have a cold snap. If it's going to stay snowy for a long time, you may want to clean off the light a little bit to let the light into the light so that your plants don't start to get yellow because they're not getting enough photosynthesis. So you can kind of make almost like a little window in the snow. But leaving that snow right up against the sides of your frame is best insulator ever. The only time I ever clear it is if we get snow and then it's supposed to rain and then snow. I worry about that freeze breaking the sides of my frame. If you're using a different type of material that isn't going to fracture, you probably don't need to do that at all. As we move further into spring and it starts to get really warm, I might even just take the lights off and put during the daytime and then put them back on at night. In the winter, I don't have to even worry about my vents. I may need to worry more about my bricks so that a winter wind doesn't come in there. But what I can do in the winter time to really insulate my plants is I put hay bales on the outside of the sides that provides a little bit more insulation. And typically I can be picking vegetables up and through into the new year using that. The rest of them end up pretty dormant. They don't grow any bigger, but they don't shrink either. So that starting around March, I can usually start harvesting again. Because mine is plastic, it's very lightweight, which is great because then in the summer I can take it apart. But what I do have is earth staples on the frame to keep it into the ground so that it doesn't just blow off in the wind. I also have it insulated around the sides with some dirt, but I'm going to show you a trick. This is just a good old bottle of water, about 3/4 of the way full. This is a really great heater for your cold frame. So if you have a bottle of water that you put in there, the sun will heat up the water. And then at night, when the temperature cools down, the heat from the water will be released into the cold frame. And it can keep the temperature higher in the cold frame by up to about 10 degrees if you use this. And during the daytime, it can really get those temperatures up. Depending on the size of your cold frame, you can pick whichever size bottle you want. Maybe it's a gallon jug or anything. Recycle it when you're done. But I use plastic. If I had a dark colored plastic, this would definitely retain more of the heat, but I don't. This is what I have. I would not recommend using glass because there's a high probability that this water could freeze if we had a cold snap. If this was glass and it broke, it's just going to shatter into your garden and you'll be cleaning up shards of glass all season. If this broke, okay, worst case scenario, I've now watered the inside of my garden and then I'll just take out the plastic and put it on my recycling bin. So this is a much safer way to use as a heater and doesn't require any electricity at all. I'm going to put in about 6 of these bottles all along the side. That also adds a little bit more insulation in case any of the dirt on the sides wears off, so that'll just keep some of the wind down. When we looked at the season extenders from last year that had the mesh tops that I would use for my seedlings, what's different with a cold frame is it has a solid top. So no moisture is going to get in from rain or snow. In the winter, your plants really don't need that much moisture. It's really stored in the soil. But you now have control over watering your plants. You don't have to do it often, just keep a close eye on them. If you did need to water your plants, do it on a cloudy day, because if you watered your plants in the heat of the day and the sun is already magnified on your light and magnified again on any droplets on the leaves, you can then get leaf burn. If you really do need to water on a sunny day, try to do it really close to the ground so that you're not getting any water on the leaves. Another thing, you don't want to get water on the leaves, especially if it's later in the day and you're expecting low temperatures, because those could then freeze and now you have frost on the inside of your cold frame. So think about before you water and really look at that weather forecast and make your plans for that. I'm looking forward to a couple of sunny days to help warm up the soil. The soil is definitely frozen. I had to really pound those earth staples into the ground today. If I had had this set up all winter, the soil would definitely be warmer, but it's just a solid rock. So hopefully in like 3 or 4 days, I'll be able to plant winter hardy plants. So I'm going to have some beets, mosh, a few lettuces, some Swiss chard, and I might even start some peas. And here's the finished cold frame. It's all assembled, and you can see that the light and the automatic vent opener there popping open the light because it's a nice sunny day. Thank you for watching.